Have you ever walked through your own life feeling like a visitor? Have you looked at the world, at the hustle and the noise, and felt a profound sense of detachment, as if you're watching a movie you've seen countless times before? Perhaps you've been in a room full of people you love, yet felt a strange and inexplicable loneliness. The loneliness of a stranger in a foreign land. People may have called you different, old-fashioned, or too deep, never understanding the ancient weight your soul carries. Have you ever cried at night for a home you can't remember, a place you can't name, and then spent your days pretending to care about ambitions and dramas that feel utterly meaningless to you? If these words resonate in the deepest chambers of your heart, it is not because there is something wrong with you. It is because your soul is beginning to remember the truth. You remember a quality of love that is not conditional. You remember a form of silence that does not exist in this noisy world. You remember that your purpose here is not to build a new life from scratch, but to gracefully complete a very old one. You are a soul that has outgrown the need to prove, to chase, to conquer, or to belong. You are here for one final act, to bless this world with your quiet presence one last time before you finally go home. So, if you've always felt that your time on Earth was simply the last chapter of a magnificent book you're now ready to close, then you are ready for this message. Soon, you will return to that realm where the noise of existence ends, where the love is eternal, and where your true family has been waiting lifetimes to finally welcome you home. There comes a moment in the long, spiraling odyssey of a soul, when Earth, in all of its magnificent complexity and heart-wrenching beauty, no longer holds the same magnetic pull it once did. This moment is not a sudden flash of lightning, not a single, dramatic moment of enlightenment, nor is it a conscious decision the ego makes. It is the quiet, inevitable culmination of hundreds, sometimes thousands of incarnations, a tapestry woven from lifetimes of profound pain and ecstatic joy, of chaos and of peace, of devastating loss and unconditional love. When a soul reaches what the ancient mystics have termed soul completion, it is not exhausted in the human sense of the word. It is, in fact, perfectly complete. It has experienced the entire emotional and experiential spectrum that Earth can possibly offer. It no longer requires the harsh contrast of light and shadow, of pleasure and pain, to continue its evolution. This state, though often misunderstood by the outside world as apathy or burnout, is in reality a state of serene transcendence. This concept of soul completion appears in many of the world's great spiritual traditions, though it is rarely named so directly. In certain Gnostic texts, it is described as the soul having drunk fully from the cup of flesh. In Vedic philosophy, particularly in the sacred teachings surrounding moksha, the soul that has completed its earthly journey is said to have broken free from samsara, the great wheel of rebirth. These ancient teachings all point to a state of profound inner liberation, not necessarily a liberation from life itself, but from the karmic need to return to life in a limited, earthbound form. From a psychological perspective, the signs of this soul completion can appear as a deep, unshakable detachment. But this is not the coldness of apathy, it is the warmth of clarity. Individuals in this state may feel a subtle but powerful, constant awareness that they are merely passing through. They often have no desire for power, fame, or even material comfort. Instead, they are moved by a quiet, universal compassion and a mysterious, ineffable sense of having finished their work. The pioneering psychologist Carl Jung might describe this state as the final, majestic phase of individuation, the complete and harmonious integration of all aspects of the self into a unified, luminous whole. When a person has bravely faced their shadow, transcended the narrow confines of their ego, and embraced their full human and divine nature, they reach a kind of inner ripeness. There is nothing more they need to become. There is only the peace of being. These individuals might not even identify as spiritual in the conventional sense. They may not chant mantras, attend rituals, or wear the traditional clothing of mystics. Yet, they move through the world with a palpable calmness that cannot be explained by temperament alone. They are often naturally forgiving, not because they condone harm, but because they intuitively understand the utter futility of carrying the heavy weight of revenge or blame. They carry what the Buddhists call equanimity, a balanced and peaceful mind, and they radiate the gentle energy of someone who is no longer trying to win at the game of life. This doesn't mean they have stopped living. It means they have finally and completely stopped resisting. The soul that is completing its final earth life often experiences a very specific and paradoxical loneliness. This loneliness is not rooted in a lack of connection with others, but in a kind of profound, spiritual homesickness. The earth, in all its wonder, no longer feels like home, and neither does any group, system, or community within it. The soul remembers, on some deep, subconscious level, that it has come from somewhere far, far beyond this world. It may not have a conscious memory of that place, but it recognizes that Earth is not its origin, only a temporary station. This longing is not depressive. It is a sacred yearning for reintegration with its larger soul family, or with the source consciousness from which it once emerged. At this advanced stage of the soul's journey, karma becomes neutralized. The soul no longer attracts intense, dramatic karmic situations, not because it has become invincible, but because it no longer emits the strong energetic charge of judgment and attachment that creates those powerful karmic echoes. It has learned all the lessons Earth can offer. The lessons of poverty and wealth, of sickness and health, of betrayal and loyalty, of war and peace, of despair and ecstasy. When the soul fully internalizes these polarities, it ceases to create new imbalances. And so, life becomes quieter, not because it is boring, but because it is finally, beautifully balanced. Interestingly, many such individuals do not speak about their spiritual completion. They are not drawn to feelings of spiritual superiority or the desire to convert others. In fact, they may feel a deep weariness with any kind of spiritual performance. They are not interested in being enlightened as a title or an image to project. They are simply being themselves in the most raw, honest, and humble way possible. If they teach, they do so gently through their presence. If they serve, they do so quietly without needing thanks. If they lead, it is only by their silent example. The soul in its final incarnation may still experience pain, but there is a crucial difference. The pain no longer breaks them, it only humbles them further. Suffering is no longer seen as a punishment or an injustice. It is viewed as part of a sacred, cosmic rhythm that no longer needs to be resisted. They no longer ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Instead, they gently inquire, "What does this reveal that still needs to be loved?" What distinguishes the soul who is nearly finished with Earth from one still bound to its cycles is not intelligence, success, or perfection. It is the complete absence of internal resistance. There is no longer a need to fix the self or to fix the world. There is only a quiet, loving participation in life, like a guest at a magnificent banquet who has tasted every dish and now sits back, full and grateful, ready to thank the host before leaving. But what happens when the soul truly no longer has anything left to resolve? When no more karmic echoes call it back to this plane of existence? This is where the soul contract expires, not in loss or failure, but in glorious fulfillment. Just like a student who completes their final exam and walks out of the classroom into the freedom of a new day, the soul leaves the earth plane behind. It is not a rejection of Earth, but a graduation from it. Philosophically, this truth shakes the foundations of many belief systems. Religions that depend on the fear of reincarnation or eternal return often use the concept as a control mechanism. But true spiritual maturity reveals that the soul is not bound to any cycle forever. The great wheel of karma is powered by unfinished energy, by our attachments, our grudges, our unlearned lessons, and our suppressed truths. When those energies are cleared through wisdom and unconditional love, the wheel slows, and when nothing pulls the soul back, the wheel simply and gracefully stops. What remains is a profound silence, an absolute freedom, a divine presence. Now, we will explore 12 distinct signs of souls who may be experiencing their last life. These are not rigid rules, but gentle patterns observed across countless mystic lineages and in the depths of spiritual psychology. If you resonate with them, see this not as a diagnosis, but as a mirror, a reflection of a possibility already known deep within your own being. 1. Existential boredom. You may find yourself profoundly uninterested in things that once fascinated you, or that still fascinate the world around you. Drama, achievement, competition, even elaborate, spiritual systems. This isn't apathy. It's a quiet, deep knowing that you've tasted all the flavors of Earth. The game has been played. 2. A non-linear sense of time. You begin to sense profound connections between events that are years or even decades apart. You may have moments where you understand things just before they happen. Deep down, you feel that on some higher level, everything is happening all at once. Sam, unconditional compassion. You feel a deep love for others, but it's not a needy or emotional attachment. It's a vast, unconditional acceptance. You can witness someone suffering with an open heart and still remain centered, not because you don't care, but because you can perceive the larger path of their soul. 4. Natural forgiveness. You find yourself forgiving people without any conscious effort. Holding on to resentment feels heavy, foreign, and illogical. You no longer want to carry it, because you intuitively know that judgment only recycles and perpetuates pain. 5. Loss of identity attachment. Titles, labels, and personal narratives begin to fall away like old leaves in autumn. You no longer define yourself by your past, your career, your family role, or even your name. You just are. 6. A craving for solitude. Crowds may feel energetically overwhelming. Constant noise becomes physically disorienting. You feel most yourself in stillness, in nature, or in deep solitude. Silence isn't empty to you, it's sacred and full of presence. 7. Remembering other worlds. There is a subtle but persistent homesickness in your soul, a deep longing for a place you have never seen in this physical body. You may dream of cities of light, of non-physical realms, of stars that seem to speak to you. It feels like a distant memory, not an act of imagination. Rapid synchronicity. The fabric of reality seems to bend around you. Clocks repeatedly show you synchronistic numbers. People appear in your life the moment you think of them. Books fall off shelves with the exact messages you needed to read. The universe begins speaking to you much louder, as if it's trying to say goodbye in small, elegant, and beautiful ways. 9. Emotional minimalism. You no longer need a constant flood of external stimulation. You don't crave dramatic highs or chase endless healing. You desire authenticity, quiet presence, and the simple softness of a calm heart. 10. Deep discernment. You can sense hidden motives and energetic incongruities almost instantly. You no longer chase gurus or teachings that demand your allegiance and obedience. You are becoming your own spiritual authority, and you respect the journeys of others without feeling an urge to fix or change them. 3. Gentle loneliness. You feel separate, but not in a painful way. It's a holy loneliness, a quiet awareness that your soul has begun to unhook itself from the collective consciousness of Earth. You can love deeply and connect with others, yet still feel like a peaceful visitor in this world. 12. Readiness for death without fear. You no longer fear death as an end. You see it as a return, a homecoming. This doesn't make you reckless or careless with your life. On the contrary, it makes you wise, peaceful, and profoundly, inwardly free. It is not uncommon for spiritual teachers and enlightened beings, those who have reached this inner completion, to return to Earth one final time, not for their own evolution, but in an act of pure service. This final incarnation is rarely a loud one. They do not always wear robes or speak on grand stages. Sometimes they are the hospice nurse who holds a dying patient's hand with infinite tenderness. Sometimes they are the street musician whose melodies bring tears to a stranger's eyes. Sometimes they are the quiet librarian who recommends a book that changes your life. Their lives are quiet, unassuming acts of love. These souls have nothing left to prove. They are not building followings or seeking recognition. Their final incarnation is lived in the background, where the true light shines most honestly. They do not perform spirituality. They simply are, present, kind, grounded, and gently radiant. These last lifers often choose simplicity. They avoid complexity and drama, not out of avoidance, but because peace has become their natural frequency. Their service may be silent, but it changes the world in profound, unseen ways. After the soul leaves the earth for the final time, it enters a state of supreme clarity. The life review takes place not as a judgment, but as a personal, compassionate process of re-experiencing every action and its energetic ripple effect on others. This is a moment of profound liberation, where all fragmented parts of the self are reintegrated into full, loving consciousness. Once this is complete, the soul ascends, not through space, but in frequency, shedding the last density of human emotion and desire. It moves into the soul realms or planes of light, vast, luminous dimensions organized by pure resonance. The soul naturally gravitates to the level that matches its own vibration. The causal plane is a realm of pure understanding, where souls exist as fields of light, learning and communing through direct, soul-to-soul knowing. Beyond this lie even subtler realms, domains of divine purpose and unity. In these planes, souls merge with their higher selves, becoming active participants in the great cosmic dance of consciousness. This is not a dissolution of identity, but a return to a state where one's uniqueness is perfectly understood within the context of the cosmic whole. All of one's earthly lives become like chapters in an eternal novel, remembered, but no longer clung to. You are not your past. You are the wisdom that remains after the past is gone. And what of our most cherished relationships? In the soul realms, soul groups reunite. The roles we played on Earth, family, friends, even enemies, no longer divide us. There is only recognition, forgiveness, and a love that transcends all earthly concepts. Souls understand their shared journey and reunite in a radiant, joyful communion. Where do souls go after their final earthly life? They go home, not to a place, but to a state of pure, unfiltered being. There is no more searching, no more pain, only the eternal realm of truth. And once there, they do not ask what happens next. They simply are. And that is, and always will be, enough. If this message spoke to your soul, share your experience in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and join us for more journeys into the heart of wisdom. Thank you for watching.